Wow. Last but not least no pressure. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to do my bit in a sense of the highs and lows of professional footballer. It's not all glamorous. Trust me, it's not all glamorous. And I had a wonderful 20-year career. Being a local boy, always wanted to play for Hull City. Got that opportunity as a 16-year-old boy at Bulfrey Park, sweeping the stands, cleaning the boots, doing all sort of rubbish jobs and then training in the afternoon, and you do that for 2 years. At the age of 18, you get told if you're going to be a professional footballer or not. And my disappointment was Brian Horton was the manager, and the ups and downs of my dream was always wanting to play for Hull, and he told me I wasn't good enough. Yes, granted, I was a late developer as a kid, and Brian Horton said, obviously, you're not good enough. And my dad, I speak about my dad in the next 20 minutes, however, is that he gave me some unbelievable advice. And he said, go prove people wrong. And it's one man's opinion. And I think life's about opinions. Yes, I've certainly had ups and downs, and I'll speak about that in a minute. But that's all I tried to do as a professional footballer. Yes, mentally, you've got to be very strong. Physically, obviously, you've got to be strong. But the mental side of the game comes more than the physical side, in my opinion. And for 20 years, that's all I tried to do. And at the age of 18, when he told me I wasn't good enough, my mum said, you have to get a job. My dad said, you have to get a job. And I wasn't the brightest at school. My dad said, if you could read and write, you've got a chance in life. I couldn't read and write either. So I was just like, what do I do? What do I do for a living? So I ended up working on a building site for £140 a week. Now, trust me, getting up at 7:30 in the snow, carrying bricks up a ladder, it won't fun. And I played non-league football for North Aberdeen United. I did that for 18 months, and we all need a little bit of luck. We all need a little bit of luck in our lives. And I worked very hard to get my physicality, which I never had as an 18-year-old kid. That little bit of luck came. The manager of Hull City at that time was called Terry Dolan. I was playing for North Aberdeen United. He bought a house in North Aberdeen. He came to watch a game on Tuesday night. He knew that had been released 2 years previous. But then I started to grow, started to be a man. Obviously, yes, I was better than some of the players that I was playing with in the non-league circuit. And he asked me to go back to where it all started as a 16-year-old. To go back for a trial, basically. And I didn't want to go back to that building site. And Terry Dolan said, "You've got a second chance here. You don't throw it away." Now, for me to play for my hometown club was a dream come true straight away. Yes, the supporters took to me straight away. Being a local lad, lived in Gipsyville. Started to score a lot of goals. Started to get a lot of interest from other clubs. Hull City then was in 250 grand in land revenue debts, which you actually know what that means now, I think. Because I've been there. And, well, mine was 164 grand, you want 250, but we nearly got there. And Terry said to me one afternoon, are you sat down? And I said, yeah, why? And he says, we've agreed a fee of £750,000 to Aberdeen. Now, not being the brightest, I went, where's Aberdeen? And he said, it's in Scotland. And I said, do I need my passport? And he says, yeah. And I didn't have an agent. And from then on, it was the best move I ever did. I didn't obviously want to leave Hull, but I'd never left Hull before. Obviously, my youngest son now, my eldest son now, Josh is playing at Wigan. He's just gone for £3.5 million to Wigan on transfer deadline day. I'm not with his mum anymore. I got divorced. She took all my money off me. So I've warned Josh not to tell him how much he earns, because she'll probably try taking his as well. But no, I'm just joking. Just a bit of banter. I've got to get my own back somehow now, haven't I? Yeah. But for me to go to Scotland and play in front of 20, 30, 40,000 fans, playing against the Gascoignes and the Loudrups and people like that who were very famous people who I used to watch on Match of the Day, then next minute I'm on the same park as them. And I played for 10 clubs, and yes, it was very demanding. Yes, you've got to sacrifice your life You know, you got to eat the right foods, not have 3 burgers that I've just had outside there. And basically, yes, it was very tough. You know, growing up with, obviously, with 2 children, and they had to move schools, they had to move around. And then, you know, I get that opportunity. Yes, I go play for Middlesbrough and Oxford and Bradford City to reach the Premier League. And I never ever thought that I'd be good enough to play in the Premier League. But I was a very good professional. I worked very, very hard because I didn't want to go back to that building site, and that spurred me on. I didn't play. Yes, you do play for money, of course you do, but money didn't motivate me. Playing well, scoring goals, giving 100% to my supporters every time I went and crossed that white line. And, you know, I certainly did that. Hands to 10 red cards. And I thought it was quite cultured, actually, but it didn't look that way. But for me then to get the opportunity to come back to the football club that I love, under Phil Brown, was just fairy tale stuff. To go back to your hometown club, you know, as he said there, I was 39-year-old, probably scored the most important goal of my football career. Scored 234 goals, played 780 appearances. But for me to do what I did in front of my own town, I'm doing well not to cry at the minute, so we'll get there. But for me to score the goal at Wembley in front of 87,000 people, I probably knew 30,000 of them. I think there was a lot of burglars in Hull that day, I think. But for me to do that at 39-year-old in the 39th minute, and I don't go to church, so he was looking down on me that day, and, you know, it could have been anybody. It wouldn't have bothered me if it had been Nicky Barnby, if it had been Ian Ashby, or whoever. The most important thing was for my football club to get in the Premier League for, 104 years. It was a remarkable journey for all of us, not just me. Yes, the open-top bus around the city. Everybody had Dino masks and things like that. And it was quite embarrassing. I know Joe's in the audience who I work with, and Tasha and that, but I am quite a sharp person when I want to be. And when they were shouting my name, yes, it's lovely. Yes, it's great. But for me to do that, obviously my children were at Wembley. My ex-wife was at Wembley. 250 grand win bonus, which she got that as well. So to be quite honest with you, I wish I'd have volleyed it over the bar now. But listen, it was a remarkable journey for everybody, and Nicky Barnby knocked it on the head. Nail on the head was it created genuine jobs for people in Hull. You know, it was a knock-on effect, which was brilliant. Yes, you walk around the city now. I can't go anywhere without getting recognised or spotted, or if I pop for a pint or whatever, it's camera phones sort of kill you a little bit now. But, you know, for me to go on that journey was remarkable. And the other part of the story, the downsides of professional footballer, is that you've got to retire. And mentally, it's very, very tough. Now, yeah, I have a little bit of a laugh and joke about my ex-wife. We are good friends now. But when you're getting divorced, it's a tough thing to take. Obviously, I was living in Leeds at the time. Never saw Josh and Jordan that much, moving back to Hull. And the biggest part of my life was retiring because, yes, I was prepared for it. I was 40-year-old, so I had a good 20 years. But the one thing that I wasn't prepared for, I lost the best friend in my life, was my dad. And going through a divorce, obviously then my dad passing away with a heart attack. And the story was, I've never fell out with my dad in 41 years. I'm 49 now, and I never fell out with him in 41 years. And I had an argument with him on the phone, something stupid. I'm quite stubborn, he was quite stubborn. And I never spoke to him for 4 months. And in that 4 months, he passed away. And I blame myself. And the mental side of it crucified me. I heard somebody speaking earlier on about depression. You know, I got depression really bad. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I've never took drugs in my life. But I started drinking very heavily and tried to take my own life. And I'm not proud of it, and I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me, because this speech is about, you know, being mentally strong now. And the ups and downs are great. Yeah, all the adulations are brilliant. people packing on your head, but not the Dean Windass walking around Morrison saying that he was the one who tried to commit suicide. It's not healthy. And when I do inspirational speeches, it touches me because, how selfish was I? I had a wonderful life. I earned a lot of money. And the one thing about it is that, why I mention it, is that you've got to be very mentally strong after retirement. I ended up in what was called, if anybody, ladies don't understand or men don't understand, is Sporting Chance, which is Tony Adams' clinic in Liverpool, in London. The reason why I asked for help. And the one thing about it was that I was very scared to ask for help when I was in trouble. Drinking, not getting up in the morning, stopped going to the gym, stopped playing golf, didn't want to know anybody, didn't speak to my mum, didn't tell my brother. And then it was a lad called Ian Ashby who was our captain. He'd seen that I'm in a bad way. So he put me on to Chris Kamara, who obviously we all know Chris, who worked for Sky Sports. And he put me on to Sporting Chance. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it was the best 26 days of my life. Because, don't get me wrong, I love crying now, but before it wasn't very nice. It was a miserable cry. But when I went to Sporting Chance, speaking to psychotherapists, obviously counsellors, just got everything off my chest. Just everything. There was no lies, no, I was just so honest. But I had to be honest with myself. And if people are in the room, and I'm sure there will be, because I do sportsmen's dinners every weekend and I'm speaking, and you get people coming up to me afterwards saying, yeah, I've struggled, but I dare tell my mate, or I dare tell somebody else's mate, or tell somebody else's wife or whatever. And it was very difficult for me to tell my mate, because I thought they were going to laugh at me. I thought, yeah, you're Dean Windass, you have a laugh and joke in every change room, and you're the joker of the pack. But when I was closing the door on the night, I was crying my eyes out. And the one thing about it is that, and then why I mention it, is that sometimes you've got to help yourself. I know there's a lot of family and friends, and there was loads of supporters sending me well wishes when I was in rehab. It was just very humbling, very emotional for me. But when you're in the public eye, it gets put on the TV, it gets put on Sky. You don't get away from it. It's in the papers, and that's probably the downside of being famous. Is that people, that you do get some jealous people, you do get some angry people. But the trouble is, I'm just a normal kid from Hessle Road. I wanted to fulfil a dream, which I did. And as you say, it was a magnificent achievement from the football club, from myself. Josh is doing very well now at the minute. And that's all I speak to him is about. Is go, yes, the money's changed now. Yeah, they earn a lot more money than what I used to earn. But like I say, money didn't motivate me. Playing football motivated me. And to play for my hometown club. So the message is, if I can come out and say something that I'm in bother, and people in the room who've probably had problems as well, is don't be frightened to speak out, because if I wouldn't have set out to Ian Ashby, I probably wouldn't be stood here talking to you now. And obviously, I want to see Josh growing up, and Jordan's 19, he plays amateur football now. We've got a very good relationship with my children. And then the icing on the cake was to get the role as an ambassador at Hull City Football Club, the first ever ambassador to be announced. The chairman and Iab were fantastic towards me, give me a wonderful job, which I love going to match days, love speaking to supporters about football. And that's probably just through hard work, just not feeling sorry for yourself like I used to, and it was just like all the, when people are shouting Dino in the stands, it's the best thing in the world. But then when you retire and that phone don't ring, it's the loneliest place. So for me to get this job, and I've got some great colleagues at work, and we have a good laugh, and we all have a bit of fun. But we're trying to get Hull City back into the Premier League, and that's our main aim. Like you say, it helps all the businesses in Hull. The Premier League status. The more money you get, the bigger crowd you attract. So yeah, been an ups and downs, but that's life. Life's about ups and downs. I'm very blessed now. I'm not scared to cry. I'm not scared to talk to people. Don't get me wrong. I've done good days and bad days, we all do. You know, but I don't get drunk anymore when I've had a bad day. Don't get me wrong, I can go for a pint now and I can enjoy myself and I can do whatever because I'm retired. You know, I can go for a drink, do it at the right times and enjoy my life. I play a lot of golf, which keeps me occupied when the weather's nice. But that's the journey of a footballer. And it's probably the same when you go to work every day. You know, you see your work colleagues every day. That's your little family that you have. Well, I had that for 20 years where you're working with 15, 16, 17 lads every day. They know when you're down. They know when you're happy. But the biggest part of my life was, you know, getting the chance to, especially to play for Hull City and obviously to work for Hull City. So that's my story. I don't want to go on too much because obviously everybody's been a little bit tired after all your food. I'm sure you're not asleep, are you? Because I can't see you up there. But it's been very humbling for me. Obviously, thanks to the people who invited us along. Very interesting to listen to other people's speeches and business-minded things in their life. But as you say, you know, I always say to my kids now, just keep smiling because you're a long time dead. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.